Why are we uncomfortable when the bereaved ask God why?
It's unfair to expect a trauma victim to be coherent. It's unfair.
Yeah, because I think a lot of single ladies need a Naomi. You know Naomi in Esther's story.
Naomi, Naomi Boaz Ruth story.
Yeah? Sorry, Ruth's story. Yeah.
Ruth's story, yeah.
Who told Ruth one day, I went to Phil's Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. For years, there is a teaching that was held amongst the church that I go to. The teaching was held for a long time. They said, do you remember in the Old Testament, the high priest would go into the most holy place? There was a teaching that was long held for years. That is, the high priest would go into the most holy place. He would have a rope tied to his feet, so that if he dies inside there, they would pull him out. But reading through my Bible, I never found that. It's not there. Where did we get that from?
If you think people brush their teeth so that their teeth are healthy, you're lying to yourself. People brush their teeth for social acceptance.
For social acceptance, yeah.
Period. That's why if you don't add mint flavor to your toothpaste, you'll go broke.
Exactly.
It does nothing for your teeth, nothing for your oral health.
Right.
And when you run out of the house and you think and you figure, I forgot to brush my teeth, you're not thinking, oh, my teeth are gonna rot. No, you're thinking, woo. I remember I went to see a young lady from church who'd lost her mom. And then we're chatting and she says to me, I'm so glad you didn't come and say something stupid.
Wow.
Well, she didn't use those words, but I'm paraphrasing. So I'm glad you didn't come and say something stupid. Wow. Some lady actually came and said, the devil is strong, but God let him kill your mom or something like that. And she says, imagine if I didn't have strong faith and somebody said something like that.
Welcome to the Truth Talk Podcast, where we uncover the hidden truths and untold stories. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guest, and they aim to bring light to the unspoken realities of life. The content shared here is for informational purposes only, and it is not intended to replace professional advice. Listener discretion is advised. Now, to the podcast.
Hello, welcome to Truth Talk. My name is Jason, the Soulful Nerd, and I'm with.
And my name is Makau, inspired content creator. And welcome to Truth Talk, another episode that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this one.
It's called Danger, Religious Forensics at Work.
That's why I'm excited about this one. Yeah, as someone who enjoys forensics.
Yeah, it was your idea.
Yeah, let's get into it.
CSI. Anyway, okay.
CSI.
So the first question is, why are we uncomfortable when the bereaved ask God why?
Me?
In general.
Okay, why are people uncomfortable when the bereaved ask why?
Yeah, there's a funeral, somebody. Well, I was gonna use a non-family friendly term, but let's be polite. Somebody's passed away, and people are hanging out there at the wake or mfeni, and somebody says, no, it's not for us to ask God why, it's just for us to accept. I've heard that a number of times, and I've thought to myself,
yeah.
Asking
why, let me just speak probably from the shoes of those who are annoyed.
Okay.
Asking why usually sounds like you're challenging God, right? How dare you challenge an omniscient God?
Yeah.
God who knows everything, who knows the beginning from the end. A God who sits on the throne of majesty, who's holding the universe together. You barely understand artificial intelligence and machine learning, then you are busy questioning God why?
Why?
About his decisions. I mean, who are you?
Yeah, I mean, right? He knows something.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows everything.
Yeah.
So could he at least share with me some of what he knows so I can know some?
You can't even handle a simple let's say your girlfriend comes and tells you that she has messed up. You can't handle when she tells you that she's cheated on you.
Yeah.
And you want God to tell you universal things.
I'm a forgiving guy,
You
though,
can't
but not
even
too
handle-
forgiving.
You can't even handle that magnitude of things. So why should God tell you?
No, because I want to know. Why?
Yeah. So I think from where I'm standing,
Yeah.
people are annoyed when we ask why, because it seems like a finite human being is questioning an infinite being. And so that sounds, it's also like questioning a person of authority.
Okay.
Like even we grew up in an environment where even our parents, you can't question them.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can't question your father, how dare you question God? Yeah.
I get in trouble for that at home. From childhood.
Yeah.
But umntwana ulalelayo, man.
Yes, umntwana olalelayo doesn't question.
Yeah, but I'd question anyway.
Yeah.
I remember, I think I was in grade 1. So I asked my Mom, what's 6? And then my mom says, I'll tell you when you're grown up, right? So I went in.
Grade 1?
Yeah. They were talking about it on TV.
Oh, okay.
So we're all in the lounge and then I said, 6, what? And then I said to my mom, what's 6? My mom says, I'll tell you when you're grown.
At least she was nice about it.
And
For
then
some of us asking such a question, you would get your mouth,
Yeah. Well, I got close to that because I then told her, look, don't worry about it. I've looked it up in the dictionary. I know what it is. That didn't go down well, eh? Yeah. Because give me my dictionary. When I tell you, I'll tell you stuff later. You don't go look it up in the dictionary. Yeah.
So maybe we're gatekeepers to God's knowledge.
Base.
Bank or base, whatever.
Database.
So we don't want people to be asking God why.
Yeah.
I think so. That's why we're uncomfortable, because it's not normal for someone to ask a person of authority questions like why. Yeah.
But why do we expect coherence from trauma victims? Why do we expect people who are in pain to have clear thinking?
Already something is fundamentally wrong with your question. Not that the question is wrong, but the fact that we can put our own expectations on someone else who has gone through something that we have never gone through. So I grew up and my life was perfect, and there's someone there who's gone through trauma and a lot of other things. And now I expect them to be coherent when trauma in itself, trauma by nature is such that, number one, when you go through a certain trauma, your brain prioritizes survival.
Okay.
Right? So it doesn't prioritize everything else. So what it's prioritizing when you're going through something, it's survival.
Okay.
So the moment it prioritizes survival, everything else shuts down. When everything else shuts down, there is incoherence in the build-up of the memory. Something else is now more important than everything else. So I can't expect a trauma victim to be coherent. It's not possible.
Okay.
The other thing about the brain, I enjoyed the subject. So
we noticed. I mean, I've noticed.
Is so if someone has gone through trauma, right? Later on in life, you have what they call instant flashbacks.
Okay.
So it keeps coming back. So you may be enjoying with your friends, laughing and everything. Then something small may trigger that thing.
Like your girlfriend cheating on you.
Exactly. And then it just triggers it. And then you go back. So your mind, you can't be coherent when you have some flashbacks that disturb the normal flow of things. Every day you're okay, then the next thing you're not okay. You can't. So it's unfair to expect a trauma victim to be coherent. It's unfair.
Yeah,
It's
but I mean,
totally
guys,
unfair.
you read the Bible,
Yeah.
you sing songs at church, you pray. That should inoculate you from humanity. You should become, superhuman.
No.
Christians are superhuman.
No.
They don't feel pain. They don't ask questions. They just believe.
But our leader, Jesus Christ on the cross, even said, I thirst.
Yeah.
Even when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, he got to a point where he said, I wish this cup could pass from me. Jesus, who is God, right? Of course, at the point, he was fully human and fully divine, right? But he felt the pain that human beings feel.
Okay.
So how can we expect another person not to feel the pain that they feel because of past experiences, and we expect them to think clearly?
Okay.
That's not possible.
Okay.
That's unfair.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's totally unfair.
Well, there were 3 men, 4 actually, who should have been here to hear you say this, but they weren't, because they were in a land called Uz. So our next section is entitled CSI Uz. Ding, 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 ding. Because I think so. There's this friend of theirs named Job.
Yeah.
And Job started off a wealthy man.
Yeah.
And he had 10 kids. For all his wealth, he couldn't afford contraception.
Well, if you have a lot of money, you can have a lot of kids. No, but 10 kids is nothing.
Yeah, well.
Back then.
Yeah, back then, I suppose.
Now.
Yeah. Now, hey.
Yeah.
90 months of pregnancy.
Yeah.
90 months of pregnancy.
Now I understand why Mrs. Job will say, curse your God.
Yeah.
Because imagine losing all 10 children in one.
Because he lost everything in one day.
In one day, yeah.
And the way he heard about it before one report is done, another report
is
comes
coming
in. So it's like boom, 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 boom.
Bruh.
Loses everything. Not a word of complaint.
Sure.
And then a short while later, his health is gone. He's covered in boils. That's what happens when you eat spinach. No, I'm joking. I wish it did. I wish it happened to people who served me spinach and curry.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, he lost his health. Right? Lost his health. He's covered in boils, and he's scratching his boils. I've had abscess, like one boil at a time.
Yeah.
It's
terrible, man.
Yeah. There's certain kinds of soaps I can't use on my face because I get a sty.
Okay. Yeah. And now imagine your whole body. So the progression for me is something that just beats logic. Right? You're seated, a report comes in, you've lost your 10 children. You've lost your 500 yoke of oxen. You've lost your 500 she-asses. You've lost your camels. And all this is coming in one moment, one after the other. Next thing, your children are gone. Next thing, you're thinking, let me take a breath. And
at least I have my health.
At least I have my health. Then next thing,
boom,
God, your health is gone. Next thing, your dear wife is telling you, curse God and die, man.
Yeah. Tells her, why do you talk like a foolish woman?
Sometimes we don't fully appreciate what Job went through. We just read it as a Bible story.
Yeah.
And that's why many other scholars would say that's not a true story.
Yeah.
Because no human has really ever experienced that in reality.
Yeah. But the story's there.
Yeah, it's there.
And his 3 friends arrive. They can't even recognize him. He's unrecognizable.
That's how terrible it was. Yeah.
And they sit down, they cry with him for a week. They say nothing for a whole week. It was the only time they were helpful in the story. The rest of the time,
they were only helpful when they were quiet.
Yeah, when they said nothing.
When they started speaking. I know such people when they open their mouths.
Yeah. Man, you look so beautiful until you started talking. I can think of a few.
I hope you're not thinking about the one that I'm thinking about.
Well, it depends. Just say the first letter of the name and then.
No.
Say it on camera.
No.
Like, you want to say it. Say it. Don't fight the temptation.
I was almost convinced to say it. No.
Anyway,
Tell me more about Job.
So Job starts complaining and
Yeah.
starts crying.
Yeah.
Curse the day I was born. I might as well have never been born.
Yeah.
And whatever. And his friends have this theology
Yeah.
that says, if you get into your late 30s
Mm-hmm.
and you're still single,
Mm-hmm.
it's a curse from God
Mm-hmm.
because there's sin in your life. Basically, if you have problems or any pain in your life,
Yes.
it's a punishment from
punishment
God.
from God. Yeah. That's,
Although I know some people would say, you know what, if you're single in your late 30s, praise God. You're still free. But
it's some funny theology that they had because they were reasoning from cause to effect.
Yeah.
Right? And I think at the time,
No, from effect to cause.
oh yes, from effect to cause. And at that time, that theology was widespread anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you read in the Bible right through, you'll notice that people believed that, especially the issue of leprosy, they'll believe that leprosy is a punishment from God.
Or not even just in Bible times.
Yeah.
There was a time when HIV/AIDS was seen as a punishment for sexual immorality.
Yeah.
If you had AIDS, it meant you had been loose.
Exactly.
And you had to live with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you had saying, no, I cut myself with the razor blade that was used, blah, blah, like, bruh, you're lying. It's a punishment from God. Yeah. So their theology back then still exists even now.
Yeah.
Sadly. I wouldn't expect that in today's, this day and age, but sadly.
No, but I mean, reasoning from effect to cause is quite prevalent. Some guy will say, look, I thank God for answering my prayers. My girlfriend has stopped nagging me. But he doesn't know. Maybe it's because she's found somebody else.
And that's the most common.
Yeah. Anyway. No hating on girlfriends. So his friends start to castigate him. And I'm going to read some of the verses that they said. Okay, Job 5 verse 17. I'm reading from the Contemporary English Version. Consider yourself fortunate if God all-powerful chooses to correct you. Job 15 verse 12 to 14. King James Version says, why doth thine heart carry thee away? I know you like King James, so I put it there for you. Why doth thine heart carry thee away? And what do thy eyes wink at? That thou turnest thy spirit against God, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth. What is man, that he should be clean? And he which is born of a woman, that he should be righteous. Job 25, verse 1 to 6, Contemporary English Version. Back to grade 2. Bildad from Shua said, God is the one to fear, because God is in control and rules the heavens. Who can count his army of stars? Isn't God the source of light? How can anyone be innocent in the sight of God? To him not even the light of the moon and stars can ever be pure. So how can we humans when we are merely worms? Where did they get that kind of theology?
It was in their heads.
But
yeah, come on. This is not foundational in anything that they... I don't know. Well, sources say that the story of Job happened even before Moses.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Some say it's the
oldest book. It's the oldest book of the Bible. So presumably we can say that they didn't have the Bible to have a right formulation of theology. So the best bet I can put there is probably what they were talking about here.
Okay.
Was something that they found from their cultural biases or their way of living.
Okay.
And they believed it from their surroundings and where they were.
Okay.
Because I can't say this kind of theology is divine. It can't be.
But when most people quote the book of Job, they quote his friends.
Sadly.
Yeah.
But his friends were in the wrong.
Yeah.
We all know that. The friends were just in the wrong.
I haven't seen any bumper stickers with verses that Job said.
Yeah, very few, except for that one that says...
naked.
Besides the naked, though my skin be destroyed, yet I shall see God with my own eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That's the common one.
I know
right?
that my Redeemer
lives.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know that my Redeemer lives. That's the one. But the rest, we quote jobs from all these other sources.
Yeah, nobody talks about it. I wish I hadn't been born, and yeah.
The source of their theology is a problem.
Okay.
And I think, to be fair, besides the source, what I highly believe about Job's friends, because they are friends with Job, right? And if they're friends with Job, it means that they share a lot of things. They have a lot of similarities.
Okay.
Right? So how come Job has a different kind of approach to it versus the friends? So I think the problem is not the source of their theology, but their interpretation.
Okay.
Which was the problem.
Okay.
Or their understanding of God, their picture of God was the problem.
Yeah, it was the problem.
Yeah. So probably the source was okay, but their interpretation of the whatever they knew was the problem. Yeah.
Because the first is this guy named Eliphaz, or is it Eliphaz?
Eliphaz.
This is called Eliphaz. In Job 4, verse 12 to 21.
Job 4, verse 12 to 21, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He says, "A secret was told to me in a faint whisper. I was overcome by sleep, but disturbed by dreams. I trembled with fear, and my hair stood on end as a wind blew past my face. It stopped and stood still. Then a form appeared, a shapeless form, and from the silence I heard a voice say, 'No humans are innocent in the eyes of God, their creator. He finds fault with all his servants, and even with his angels. Humans are formed from clay and are fragile as moths. So what chance do you have? Born after daybreak, you die before nightfall and disappear forever. Your tent pegs are pulled up, and you leave this life having gained no wisdom.'" Yeah, I'm trying to imitate a bass voice.
Oh, okay, I can see that. Yeah, clearly.
It's a bad bass voice
Clearly.
for a bad dream.
This
Bad
was
dream.
a bad dream.
Yeah.
Very bad dream.
But I mean, doesn't God speak to us in dreams?
Okay, so what you're starting is quite interesting, right? So God can speak to us
In dreams.
in dreams.
Yeah.
He does. But for all we know is that when you go to bed having had a heavy meal, you can have some dreams that are terrible. And for all we know is that Eliphaz here was probably hallucinating. We don't know what he had eaten before going to bed. Because if it was God, then God couldn't have told him what what he's saying here. Or if it was not God, and if he was not hallucinating, then it's someone else who's not God. Then we all know who it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he sounds like someone else who we'll talk about later.
Exactly.
Who was speaking in Job 1 and 2.
Exactly.
The content.
Exactly. The content
sounds
is
a lot
similar.
like
It sounds a lot like him. Right? So this kind of thinking that he's doing here, you can clearly see that this is not God. Whatever dream he had, either Kulu, or he was listening to a voice of another person. That is not mentioned here.
That didn't come here.
Yeah.
So what about today? I mean, well, we call this special revelation when you have a direct word that comes from a supernatural source.
Yeah.
How reliable is that today?
It's very reliable.
Okay.
As long as you can verify it against the Bible.
Okay.
Why I'm saying so is because special revelation, it's fine. I like to call it secret revelation because it always happens in secret alone, right? And so you have a special revelation and you are told stuff. So the stuff that you hear, Jason, go and marry sister so and so, right?
Yeah. Okay. It's a bad dream. I had spinach before bed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. So once you receive the problem in the world today is when someone receives a special revelation, they always take that special revelation and use it as if it's authoritative without testing it against the revealed word of God. Because whatever is revealed in secret must be tested with that which is written,
Okay.
that we know is divinely inspired. Right. So Isaiah 8:20 says, to the law and to the testimony, talking about how you can know whether a prophet is genuine or not, to the law and to the testimony. So remember in that episode where we talked about the law, the prophets and the writings, the law and the testimony, basically. Whatever you get as a special revelation must be tested against the law and the testimony. If it's against that,
okay,
then you can't use it.
Amen, Fundisi. But what happens if this dream tells me to do something and it turns out to be correct?
Do something like what?
I had a dream and my grandfather came to me and he said, go to that podcast, sit in front of the microphone, talk and teach Mac. And I came and I taught Mac and Mac understood. So now I'm going to believe that voice.
I have an interesting story to share, but I think in relation to what you're saying, but I think I'll share it after the break. Yeah, because it's quite a long story and I'm afraid I will not finish it before the break. So let me share it after the break in relation to what you're saying, speaking about trusting these voices and the likes.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll take a break now. Subscribe and share with your friends, your relatives, and even your enemies. Hey, welcome back. It's the Soulful Nerd and
the inspired content creator
who was about to tell us a story.
Oh yeah, your question, you were saying that if your grandfather tells you in your dreams to say, and your grandfather probably passed away, right? And comes in your dreams and tells you, go sit on that couch and speak to the people, and you shall call it a podcast, and so there's a lady who at some point told us a story after her husband passed away.
Okay.
Right. So the husband had a tendency of, when he had come back from work, when he was back from work, what the husband would do was to get home, then knock by the bedroom window.
Okay.
Just knock, and then ask the wife to open the door. Right. Okay. Knock, bedroom window, open the door. That was his habit, right? So she says after the husband passed away, she was sleeping in her room. Then suddenly she heard that knock on the window.
Sure.
The husband is dead, right? The knock, same number of times, if it was 3 times. And then she heard her husband's voice saying, my wife, wake up and pray. And it's a true story, right?
Okay.
She says, okay, so my husband is dead. I know he's dead. And I know the Bible says that the dead know nothing. When someone is dead, he's dead. The dead can't speak. The dead can't do anything. So she says, I wanted to listen to that voice because the voice is telling me
to pray.
To pray.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's good.
It's good, right? But she says, no, she woke up and rebuked the voice. Says, go away. You're not my husband.
Okay.
My husband is dead. From that moment on, there was nothing. Right. Of course, the drama involved in the story, I can't retell it as she was telling it, but it was bad. When you're listening to it, it was very bad and happened many times and something like that. Where I'm driving at is sometimes certain voices that we listen to, even if they tell us good things, they are there to lure us. So they can tell us good things for a time. Until they win our trust. When they win our trust, then they come with bad things. A voice that told you good things at first, then it comes and tells you, do you know there is some relative in your family who wants to kill you? Your relative is so and so, the one that wants to kill you. That same voice that was saying, wake up and pray, is now telling you that your brother wants to kill you. So for your brother not to kill you, you need to do A, B, C, and D. So you notice why it's not advised to trust those things, those voices that come to us in these funny dreams. They can come and they are genuine and they portray things that will happen and the things actually happen. But you need to understand that with dreams, if it's a dream from God, God always gives the interpretation. For me, that's what I believe. If God gives you a dream, then God will give you the interpretation. Something like that, something of that sort.
Yeah, special revelation. Yeah, it has its place.
Yes, it does.
But it's not the most reliable.
Exactly.
And here you have what's his name again? Eliphaz.
Yes, Eliphaz.
Gotta have that fast. So Eliphaz has a
special revelation.
Yeah, he has a dream.
Yeah.
That shows him a picture of God that's false.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you can't even, so that it puts a limitation on the sort of trust you can have.
Yeah.
That's incredible because it's quite trendy in Christianity today.
A lot.
To view special revelation as more reliable than reading the Bible. And going through all the hard work of interpretation and all of that. But no, I'd rather find if I don't have a special revelation, I should find someone who claims to have them.
Exactly. That's why sometimes we want God to come and show us signs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm praying, God, if she's the girl that I'm supposed to marry, then please make sure she comes with an apple and she skips all the guys that I'm seated with, and then she gives me the apple. Then I'll know she's the one, right? And the danger in that is a girl who's known to be the worst among them all will do that.
Give you an apple, yeah.
Yet the revealed word of God says that as you're looking for a wife to marry, these are the qualities to look for. Right? We can't always follow special revelation in certain things which God has already revealed. Right? So read the Bible, pray and ask for the spirit of discernment. As you look around you, then you say, no, that one has the qualities that God says I must look for anyway. Then to want to be lazy and not read the Bible and wait for an apple to come mysteriously and
always looking for signs and wonders.
Always looking for signs and wonders. Even in the Bible, Jesus
paranormal
says that
activity,
signs and what are for them who do not believe. Because I think we should spend more time in the Word of God, studying the Word of God, the one that we talked about it in previous episodes, and how it came to be and how it's the inspired Word of God. I think there is more to benefit from studying the Bible personally than relying on special revelation.
In fact, in line with special revelation, signs and wonders and that sort of thing. I heard a story of a woman, early 20th century, or was it late 19th? No, early 20th century. She lived in a small American town. And there was this guy. Hey, ngiyakufuna, baby.
Okay.
I want to marry you.
I can imagine the pickup lines of the 20th century. Was it, you said 20th century?
Early 20th century.
Okay.
So she didn't really like the guy.
Okay.
But she asked God, she said, look, I want a sign. Now, they relied on trains in this town.
Okay.
So, and the trains were unreliable. So then she says to God, okay, he's supposed to get on a train and go. If the train doesn't come, then I'll know you want me to marry him.
Okay.
If the train comes, then it means you don't want me to
marry him.
I can't remember if the train came, he got on and then he got off or something.
Okay.
But whatever happened, he didn't get on the train and leave. So she thought, no, God wants me to marry this guy.
Okay.
So she married him. It was the worst marriage ever. It was they were miserable. Their whole lives they were miserable.
And now
until he died.
And now how do you get out of such a marriage? Which you believe God put me in it, and probably he didn't. He was just sitting in heaven and thinking, oh boy.
She was miserable till the day he died.
You see? Exactly.
And then she was talking to a pastor and she said, how can God do this to me? And when I heard the story, my question was, how could you do that to God?
Yourself.
No, how would you do that to God? Why would you do this? Why would you do such a terrible thing to God? You didn't like the guy. Duh.
Exactly. Because God does not force us to marry people that we don't want. First, that's why he created you. With those feelings, with these emotions, attraction. You need to be attracted to someone. Chemistry. I always tell people
in an ice cream cup. Chemistry in an ice cream cup. Chemistry. Woo!
Yeah. Well, now that you mentioned it, right, it's in line with special revelation, because where I always tell people, like when they come to me, but I think God wants me to marry him, right? And I'm asking, do you guys click?
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't click. Then I'm like, leave him. But leave him.
Dude, you're a homewrecker.
Leave him immediately. If you don't click, how do you marry someone that you don't click with?
Love follows.
Love follows.
Yeah, it'll come afterwards.
Never. If you don't click, dump him. Dump her.
Sure.
Chemistry. God created chemistry. It's something that God made. Chemistry must exist between two people who want to get married, who want to live together for the rest of your life.
Okay.
So if there's no chemistry, dump that person.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why?
Yeah.
Just because he's a preacher man.
Yeah.
Just because he drives a nice car.
Yeah.
Just because he can dissect the Bible left, right, center. Then
he's a graphic designer.
Imagine. Or he's a copywriter.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. So basically what we are saying is sometimes there are certain things that we cannot deviate from that are written down in stone. That when you come up with your special revelation, whether you dreamt of him, whether there was, if certain things that are the natural order of things, for example, are not met, then do not rely on your special revelation. Or if whatever has been revealed to you specially doesn't agree with the Bible, then it doesn't work. Yeah. So I think Eliphaz's problem here is, yes, he received a special revelation, but he relied too much on the special revelation without checking the source.
Yeah. And so even special revelation is unreliable.
Exactly. Special revelation is...
Okay, so that's off the list.
Yeah.
What about here? Bildad. He's old school.
Bildad.
Bildad is old school. He's an old school guy. You know? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 30s hits. Yeah, kind of guy. I'm reading from the King James Version.
Thank you.
Your favorite version.
Yes.
Job 8 verse 8 to 11. It says, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow. Shall not they teach thee and tell thee, and utter words out of their heart? Can the rush grow up without mire? Can the flag grow without water?" Ancient wisdom, old school. Ask the fathers.
Old time religion.
Yeah. Where did you guys get these new things you want to bring in here? I remember one youngster got into a difference of opinion with an elder in a church meeting, and I'm told the elder told him, when we moda ngikhuluma wena uyathula.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
Ancient wisdom. Now, we're Africans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here ancient wisdom is,
it's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
We respect our elders.
Yeah. Rightly so.
Yeah. You know, I have a friend who lived in a European country, and she said when she was there, young women with children only were interested in their mothers when they needed their mothers to babysit their kids.
Okay.
But once the kids were grown up, they had nothing to do with their moms. So she said we would know an old woman had died when we saw green flies on her door.
Sure.
So she'd be discovered by other people.
Sure.
And whatever. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, maybe here in our continent, we don't always have the best. We don't have the best record always of the way we treat women. But
the way we treat our elders.
Mess with ukoko emchovin.
Sure, everyone will come upon you.
Yeah.
Rain on you like,
Don't mess with old people.
Yeah.
We respect
old
elders.
people. Yeah.
So we believe everything they tell us.
Yeah.
It's good.
Exactly. Yeah. And is that what Bildad is appealing to here?
Saying, let's look at our fathers all of them have said that you cannot suffer if you have not done anything wrong. This is punishment from God.
Okay.
So his picture of God comes from
Ancient
the fathers,
wisdom.
the ancient wisdom.
Ancient wisdom is okay. It's actually good. Gives us a basis, foundation, right? You can rely on ancient wisdom as long as it aligns or is in unison with universal truths.
Okay.
Right? There are truths that are universal.
Okay.
And when ancient wisdom is coming and aligning with that, we can rely on it. But not just when it aligns with universal truths, but when it's aligning with universal truths doesn't erode the principles that exist, right? So, for example, trying to think of an example.
Because I was going to ask you if that's really practical. As an African young person, umuntu omdala has spoken, and then you tell them, it was not Abdallah. What you've said, it doesn't align with universal truth. That's a fast way to get kicked out of the house.
Of course, but do you notice that some of this ancient wisdom has a lot of cultural bias in it?
Okay.
Traditional bias, cultural bias. And they favor that more than whatever is happening today because they are still living in the ancient times.
Okay.
They have lived with these principles for all their lives, for all we know, and they have worked for them. But they are failing to adjust or change the principles to make them applicable in the context of someone who grew up today, doesn't know how to head cattle, has never been in a rural area setup, right? Doesn't even know farming, right? All this kid knows is just waking up, switching on a microwave or an electric kettle, switching on the TV. They are ferried to school by a car or something. All these things that we are being told that being a man, you must head cattle and suffer and drink water from the well, But the kid is not exposed to all that. And you get what I'm saying? That these adults must then take those principles from their time and then apply them to the context that we have today.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm not saying we cast away everything. No. Whatever they are saying is right. What is the objective? What is the goal? How can we apply this truth to the present day in whatever situation these kids are in?
Yeah, because I think a lot of single ladies need a Naomi. Naomi in Esther's story.
Naomi Boaz Ruth story.
Yeah? Sorry, Ruth's story.
Ruth's story, yeah.
Who told Ruth one day, I will peel his Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. And if Ruth had not done that, Ruth probably wouldn't have gotten married to Boaz. Right? Yeah.
And what I mean is, especially in church. There are young ladies who need to be taught street smarts by older ladies.
Yeah.
But I think they're being let down.
Or the older ladies are using ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
Ancient wisdom which says that as a girl, you must not put yourself out there. Tina ngesikhathi sethu sisakhula back in our days, you wouldn't even look at a man in his eyes. Please hide, be shy, be far as possible from the man, right? And when he asks you out, don't say yes. Even if you love him, even if you're attracted to him.
If he wants to, he will.
Just wait for 5 years, saying no and no and no until you say yes.
If he's serious, he'll ask all the time. And
in as much as that's true in ancient wisdom terms. But like I was saying, they must take those and teach them street smart rules that says this principle that worked back then. How can we apply them today? Right? Today, where we can't run away from the fact that we are living in a fast world.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not justifying the impatience of other people, but I'm just saying you need to then find the balance. You can't wait, keep someone's son waiting for 5 years asking you out. Come on.
Semhlabeni la.
Yeah. So ancient wisdom is cool. And Bildad is right here. He's asking Job, bruh, like ancient wisdom taught us that you can suffer when you have not done anything wrong.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah.
But they are limited in their scope of understanding. They think that ancient wisdom is the full measure.
Okay.
As in it has accumulated everything. But they don't understand that truth is progressive. Right? As you grow, as time moves, we learn more new things, right? So, for example, Abraham, I heard someone recently saying, probably Abraham didn't understand molecular biology or astrophysics. He didn't understand all that. But with his limited knowledge, he was able to see the full picture of God. But today, an astrophysicist can explain God in deeper ways that Abraham couldn't. Because with time, as knowledge progresses with time, right? People get to learn more. So I think what lacks in ancient wisdom is the understanding that truth is not stagnant, it grows.
Okay.
So they lack this open mind to say, as we need to learn new things. Why it's important in this context is because their limited understanding doesn't factor in the fact that they do not know everything about God.
Okay.
So because they do not know everything about God, they limit God to a cause and effect and cause scenario, right? Okay. Yet God is much bigger than that. His scope is way more than that. With the benefit of hindsight, we know the story that Job suffered because he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Right? That's the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah.
But these guys didn't have that knowledge, and they are being rigid to the knowledge that, no, you suffer because you have sinned. Yet us, we've gained more knowledge now to say, no, you suffer even if you're a good guy.
Yeah. So let's take this to church.
Okay.
Church dogma. The dogma of church. I mean, this is what my church believes.
Yeah.
And this is why I understand God that way. My father was at this church. My grandfather was at this church. My great-grandfather was at this church. I'm a fourth generation member of the same church.
Yeah. I think we tackled this, not in depth, of course, but in the first episode. When we are saying that my church says, and
pastor says,
my pastor says, and
my
stuff.
Mommy says.
My mommy says that, which is fine. It gives you a base.
Okay.
Right. So I don't think that church dogma and beliefs and whatever are like cast in stone.
Okay.
That they cannot be changed. Whether your church has sacraments, has fundamental beliefs, others have what do they call whatever.
I was at a congregation where everybody was expected to put on suits. Some people call it being formally dressed, but when I look at them, I think this is business casual. But let's not go into that, because you can't say you're formally dressed when you're in a blazer, chinos, and brown loafers, and pink socks. That's business. That's casual. But anyway, everyone is expected to be dressed that way.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend. He had gotten home and it was late. They had no electricity. So the only presentable clothes he had were a shirt and a pair of jeans. He walked into church and it was as if there was a communal heart attack. It's the looks he got. And you really process it. Okay, what was really wrong here? It's because he just did something that our elders never did.
Do you know there is a teaching in the Bible? It's not in the Bible. I want to give this as an example.
Okay.
For years, there is a teaching that was held amongst the church that I go to.
Mm-hmm.
The teaching was held for a long time. They said, do you remember in the Old Testament, the high priest would go into the most holy place?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a teaching that was long held for years. That is, the high priest would go into the most holy place. He would have a rope tied to his feet, so that if he dies inside there, they would pull him out.
Yeah.
But reading through my Bible, I never found that. It's not there. It's not there. Where did we get that from? Right? So when you stand up and say, this thing is not biblical, I know we've long held onto this, like, as long as I remember, but this thing is not biblical. A church...
Religion.
Exactly. A church that has a desire to study the word of God, that has a desire to learn, that has a desire to grow, will not cast you out for exposing the errors in the beliefs, but rather they'll say, oh, really? Let's study together. Let's learn and grow. Like, I can point out a whole lot of things in the Bible that I know that are held by certain churches, that if you were to go to them and say, no, this sacrament, this doctrine, this whatever is wrong, they'll say, yo, bruh, you can't change what our fathers say. Right? So ancient wisdom.
They wouldn't have believed it if they were wrong. If it were wrong. And if they were wrong, why were their lives so good?
Exactly. And that's what the churches suffer today. The churches are suffering from a lack of progression. We are holding too long to beliefs that are outdated, that are not applicable, even in our day-to-day.
Man.
Yeah.
So Bildad has to
let go of ancient wisdom. In this case, it does not apply. Job is not suffering for what he has done wrong. He's suffering for being a good guy.
Yeah. He's suffering because he's good.
Yeah. Imagine if you had told Bildad at this time and say, no, Job is suffering because he's a good guy. No one can suffer.
You're part of his, you're a breakaway.
Exactly. That's why even
heresy.
Was it
dangerous?
Who's this guy? The guy in the Book of Psalms, this famous musician, not David, the other one, who's asking that he was worried that he's seeing the wicked prosper because it was not
working out
easily fathomable to say, how can a wicked person prosper?
Yeah.
You know, we expect the righteous to prosper. Why I said it was a misinterpretation of the text is because probably they read Deuteronomy, and Deuteronomy says, when you do good, I'll give you these blessings. Deuteronomy 28. When you do good, I'll give you blessing A, blessing B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. But when you do wrong, I'll bring all these diseases upon you that I have brought upon Egypt. And they're saying, so with God, it's all about A plus B equals to C. But with God, it doesn't work that way. At some point in primary school, we were taught 1 minus 15. It can't. But as we grew older, we were taught 1 minus 15 is minus 14. Right? So I think we should have that mentality that things progress. Truth progresses. The moment you find yourself in a church where truth is stagnant, it's not progressing, leave that church.
Sure. And go where?
And go to where truth is progressing.
Okay. Man, that's incredible.
Anyway, that's too much. That's a mouthful. Let's take a break. I need to drink some water.
After talking so much.
Yeah, that was a mouthful.
Hey, welcome back to...
Welcome back. Should I do that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back. Truth Talk. And today, let me get the correct title. I don't want to mess it up. Danger, religious forensics at work.
Danger, religious forensics. You know, guys, you could do us a favor, a huge favor, by just subscribing. These topics, you know.
No, I'm a copywriter, so I if I'm gonna come up with a topic, it has to be
that powerful. So for more topics like this, please subscribe, share, and like. So we continue with where we had left from.
So now we go to Zophar.
Oh,
the thinker. Okay, you wanted to finish off?
No. I just wanted to just summarize, to say, you know, the way we've done it so far, for me, I'm also learning that. So we are analyzing the trauma that Job went through and the responses that the friends give him. So the other one comes from a perspective of secret revelation. The other one comes from a perspective of ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
So I wonder what what the next one comes up with.
The next one,
Yeah.
I called him Zophar, the thinker.
The thinker. Yeah, okay.
The thinker.
Okay.
Okay. I'm reading. I decided to go with the message for this one.
That's fine.
Job 20, verse 2 and 3. I can't believe what I'm hearing. You've put my teeth on edge, my stomach in a knot. How dare you insult my intelligence like this? Well, here's a piece of my mind.
Okay. It's about Shay's piece of his mind.
Yeah, his intelligence, his reason.
Okay.
And he repeats what his other two friends have
Been
said.
saying.
Yeah. There's no way you'd be suffering if you didn't do something to deserve it.
Yeah.
And his reason was wrong.
Yeah. Totally wrong.
So we should shut down every science faculty, fire every scientist, everyone who claims reason. Because, like, you know what? You guys are going to be wrong, like Zophar. Throw it out there. Because ever since the Enlightenment times,
Yeah.
the Enlightenment is when people decided, you know what? We're not going to go along with special revelation.
Yeah.
We're not going to go along with ancient wisdom.
We're not going to go along.
We're going to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to think. Reason is what's in charge now.
Yeah.
If what you're saying doesn't appeal to reason, if it doesn't sound reasonable, if it is not logical, it's out.
Okay.
And that's even in church as well.
Yeah.
Because you find there's this, some people call them logic bullies.
This podcast is teaching me things.
I won't let you finish what you're saying.
Bible nerds, now we have logic bullies.
Logic bullies.
Okay.
Logic bullies.
Yeah.
They're, you know, the problem with debate is that a debate isn't always won by the one who's right, but it's always won by the one who's most eloquent. So there's some people who always win debates
just because they're eloquent.
Because they're eloquent, or they have loud voices that can drown out everyone else.
Yeah.
Or they just throw in big words that mean nothing. Usually it's a warning when somebody starts saying something
big words, and you know,
in a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, indivisible, what? I had to throw shade.
That's too much shade. It's too much shade. Okay.
No, but at least the guy's not here.
Yeah, at least he's not here.
Yeah. So reason is good. What's it good for?
What is it good for?
Yeah.
God expects us to be logical thinkers.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Isaiah chapter 1 verse 18. God even calls us to reason with him.
Come, let's have a debate.
Yeah, because when you just follow without reason, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So you must think things through. Right. God created the mind for thinking.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are not using the mind for what it was created. Most people don't use their organ, the mind, for what it was created for.
Okay.
Like, seriously,
Yeah.
Look at the world that we are living in. People are moving from one thing to the other mindlessly. Very few people take time to think, to sit down and think. When last did you spend an hour that you said, I need to sit down and think? Just an hour.
Well, I'm a copywriter, so
you do that a lot.
I get paid to think. In fact,
Okay.
the hardest thing about writing is thinking.
Yeah.
To shed some light on it. If you're to ask a writer who is worth his salt or his ink in this case, if you had a choice, either lose your ability to read or your ability to write, what would you choose? The clever writer would lose his ability to write.
Right, yeah.
Because if you can't read, you can't write. So if you lose reading, you lose both.
Yeah.
So writing involves reading
and
thinking, reading, thinking, and
I will
then you write, and then you write, and then you cancel it, and then you read again, and then you think,
Throw
and
it
then
in
you
the
think,
trash.
and then you think, and then you think. Yeah. So when I'm charging you,
And I want to say
when I'm
something
charging
before
you
you
all
even
that
charge
money,
me.
and,
I know
okay.
you like charging.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I'm stopping you there.
Yeah.
Because you want to charge me for thinking.
Yeah.
I want to say something controversial.
Okay.
Well, I know it's not controversial to you, but it might be controversial to someone who's listening.
there.
Right? You're saying thinking and thinking and thinking.
Yeah.
And I would like to say religion also
Okay.
must have a lot of thinking
Okay.
and thinking.
And thinking.
And thinking. Yeah. Most people think that religion is something that you do without thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Like a code. Programming.
Yes, yeah. But religion without thinking is false religion. Yes. Yeah. Religion that doesn't promote thinking is false religion.
You realize you're going to get into a lot of trouble with a lot of churchy people.
I'm ready to die.
Really? I wonder what your wife would say.
Oh, no, I'm not ready. I'm
You're
not ready.
ready.
Yeah, I'm not ready.
You're not ready.
I'm sorry, my wife.
We
I'm
will
still
defend you.
here. I'm still here.
We will defend you.
Thank you. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Zophar is saying that Job is insulting his thinking.
Yeah.
He's
My
insulting
intelligence.
his intelligence, right? But I don't see intelligence in this because he's just reflecting what other people who lived before him thought.
Okay.
So he's just a reflector of other people's minds. If he was
Sure.
a thinker, he would have put more thought into this.
Okay.
And said, I know my friend Job.
Okay.
I know him. This guy is a good guy. You know, this is my problem with Job's friends.
Okay.
They are his friends, but they can't testify of his good works.
Okay.
Right? They know Job. So, Jason, if I know you. I
Okay.
really know you. And someone comes and says, Jason came to my place, and he raped me. I'll be like, no. That's not possible. I know if you put Jason in a room with a naked woman,
I'll give
Jason
him my
will
clothes.
take off his clothes and
Give
give
him my
the
clothes.
woman to dress.
Yeah.
That's how much I know you.
Yeah.
But Job's friends here are seemingly ignorant of the Job they knew.
Yeah.
And they are starting to accuse him, right? Shows that they are not thinking. They are just applying other things that other people thought before them. And they're saying, just because you're suffering, therefore you must have wronged God, right? So there is a problem when we limit ourselves
To thinking.
when we don't think.
Okay.
And we limit ourselves to information that has already been.
Okay.
In as much as the information is there, your place is to scrutinize it and see its worth or how true it is.
Okay.
After you've thought about it, right? So give yourself time. Even when the Bible says God created the heavens and the earth, don't just take it because I've said so. Sit down, analyze it, think it through, and then pray, and then have faith that this is true. But you need to involve.
I want to say
mind.
something violent.
Oh, okay. Bring it on.
Intelligence is overrated. I know some people who are bitter. And if I were to summarize their lives, I would say, I am intelligent. Why am I not rich?
Wow, that's violent.
And also as a copywriter, I've had to read. I've read a book by Rory Sutherland, and I've forgotten the title all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how logic is not a decision maker actually.
Yeah.
Because he used toothpaste as an example.
Mm.
If you think people brush their teeth so that their teeth are healthy, you're lying to yourself. People brush their teeth for social acceptance.
Yeah.
Period. That's why if you don't add mint flavor to your toothpaste, you go broke.
Exactly.
It does nothing for your teeth,
Yeah.
nothing for your oral health.
Yeah.
And when you run out of the house and you think and you figure, I forgot to brush my teeth, you're not thinking, oh, my teeth are gonna rot. No, you're thinking, woo.
I feel like, when you raise these things, it's just like the people who advertise makeup for women.
Yeah.
Does nothing for your skin health.
Yeah.
It's just for social acceptance. I look good on the outside, right? But we know in when it comes to nutrition that you are what you eat.
Yeah.
So if you want good skin, eat good food.
Yeah, but that's not as
Right, but that's not as
how we're gonna make money.
how we're gonna make money. So
Yeah.
let's make money by putting something that
Yeah.
you know.
In fact, if you're most advertising,
Yeah.
copywriters are involved here.
Yeah.
But I'm not an advertising copywriter. But anyway, most advertising does not speak to your logic because
No.
we know you talk to people's logic most of the time. You will go broke.
You go broke. Yeah.
Talk to their feelings.
Their feelings, exactly. How do I feel about this? So there is always a feeling attached to the product.
Yeah.
Right, that comes. So even if you look at the ads, you drink the Coca-Cola or the energy drink, or I'm not supposed to mention much brand name. So let me leave Coca-Cola. Let me talk about that energy drink that's called JJ. Right, you drink the JJ energy drink, and all of a sudden you have wings. You are flying.
Woo.
It's appealing to your feelings. How
Yeah,
do you feel after that? But not to your logic.
It was another case study he used in his book, Rory Sutherland. That drink.
Yeah.
Though he said it tastes bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a smaller can, but it outsold all the others because he said he feels the reason was when you do it that way, you've sold it as medicine. When at the time when people drinking energy drinks, it was the idea was I want to be able to stay awake.
Oh, okay.
So it's not really, I'm not drinking it for its taste, but I want it to be medicine.
Well,
medicine tastes bad. And it doesn't really come in 2-liter containers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't talk to logic, psychologic.
Exactly.
But also reason reason and logic have a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
They can only work with what they're given. So I'm saying it's not a decision maker. It's an evaluator.
It's an evaluator. Yeah.
So you've got to feed it something like boom.
Exactly, because it can't work with nothing.
Works with the information it has.
Exactly.
So Zophar didn't have information.
Exactly.
He didn't know that Job is suffering because he's
a
good
guy. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So anyway, moving from that, we come to Elihu. The angry gate crasher. It's funny, he's not mentioned until he starts speaking because it says 3 friends visited Job.
Yes.
And then while they're chatting.
And he's there listening or whatever.
Yeah. And then it comes to Elihu, and then Elihu speaks.
Yes.
And Elihu is angry.
Very angry.
I'm reading from Job 32.
Okay.
Verse 1 to 5. Job's 3 friends now fell silent. They were talked out, stymied because Job wouldn't budge an inch, wouldn't admit to an ounce of guilt. Then Elihu lost his temper. Elihu was the son of Barachel the Buzite from the clan of Ram. Definitely not in our country. He blazed out in anger against Job for pitting his righteousness against God's. He was also angry with the 3 friends because they had neither come up with an answer nor proved Job wrong. Elihu had waited with Job while they spoke because they were all older than he. But when he saw that the 3 other men had exhausted their arguments, he exploded with pent-up anger. Okay, now I'm jumping to Job 34, verse 31 to 37. It says, Job, you should tell God that you are guilty and promise to do better. Then ask him to point out what you did wrong so you won't do it again. And I highlighted this one. Do you make the rules or does God? You have to decide. I can't do it for you. Now make up your mind. Job, anyone with good sense can easily see that you are speaking nonsense and lack good judgment. So I pray for you to suffer as much as possible for talking like a sinner. Sure. You have rebelled against God time after time and have even insulted us. He's angry.
Very angry. The Bible even says pent up anger.
So Job's friends have failed to answer because every time they accused him, he would say, okay, show me my sin.
Exactly.
They can't show him the sin.
Exactly.
And they can't answer him. And finally Elihu says, look, his argument is inscrutability. God is inscrutable. You can't know.
Okay.
You can't know you can't know what God is saying. In fact, here, this Job 37, verse 20 to 24 says, should God be told what I want to speak Anyone who wanted to would be destroyed. After all, we can't look up at the sun when it blazes brightly. We can't look up at the sun when it blazes brightly in the sky after the wind has cleared away the clouds. Out of the north, God comes shining like gold, surrounded in awesome majesty. We cannot approach the Almighty, for He is far beyond us in power, justice, and doing right. He does not act like a tyrant. No wonder people are in awe of Him, though He does not value those who think they're wise. But we know God values Job.
Yeah, a lot.
From the backstory.
Yeah, from the backstory.
So his final argument is God is too far above us for Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah, things you always say when you're angry are usually the dumbest things.
Anger. You know the bad thing about anger is that anger, it hinders understanding and it clouds judgment. Right? That's why they say never act in anger. Because whatever you do when you're angry, usually, is more of a response, an emotional response, fueled by feelings and emotions and zero logic. Right? So I think we should be careful of anger, in as much as anger is an emotion. That it's an emotion.
Okay.
Yeah. But we should be careful not to allow ourselves to be led or guided by anger. You know, general anger. For me, I think anger is just a response that one shows in a certain. For example, because it's rooted in your own perceptions and expectations. For example, if we were to face the same situation right now, you could respond to that situation with anger, and I could respond to that situation with pity. Right? So the situation is the same, everything is the same right here, but we respond to the situation differently. Right? What can invoke anger in you may invoke pity in me. Right? So I think it's all about you understand that in as much as you feel like you have the right to be angry in that situation, understand that maybe it's your own perceptions, maybe it's your own expectations. That it's all about you. Usually it's all about you. It's a selfish response usually in most cases. It's a response that comes out of our own selfish desires and stuff, right? So anger will then have the tendency, like I said, to becloud your judgment and your understanding, and you usually shut down logic. You can clearly see from Elihu's statements that this boy is not thinking. He's really not thinking. He's already accusing Job, but he's a young boy. Job is an adult. He's quite rude. He's just, and you can clearly see it. No, boy, calm down. Calm down.
No compassion whatsoever.
Zero
to
compassion.
A guy who lost everything.
Imagine.
And even his health.
Yeah. That's the problem with anger.
And I think that's the problem with a lot of church people in the face of trauma. That they let their theology, their false theology,
false theology,
get in the way of compassion. There is no theology. There is no right picture of God that would leave you without any compassion in the face of trauma.
Yeah. Like if you look at all these guys, the Zophar, the Elihu, the Bildad, and the other one, right? If you look at all of them, what they're doing is basically they are giving Job an answer of what they feel. And not even one of them is realizing that this is a situation where we shouldn't just give Job answers, but we should give him empathy. Right? Sometimes as Christians, we are quick to give answers in a situation that does not need answers. A situation that requires you to sit down
and say nothing.
Just be empathetic. Say nothing. Literally nothing if you don't have anything good to say.
But about his question and the stuff he's been mumbling about, Elihu, can we know everything about God?
No, we cannot.
We can't.
No, we can't. God is too vast and broad. We can't fathom everything about him.
Okay.
But the good thing about God is he has revealed everything that we need to know about him
Okay.
for us to be saved.
Okay.
And so we can't know everything.
Okay.
And he's not a God who's gatekeeping knowledge.
Okay.
He's willing to reveal anything that we want to know.
So we can't know everything, but we must know something.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, man. That's incredible. That's incredible.
And most people
Yeah.
who speak a lot
Uh-huh.
as if they know God
Don't.
actually do not know God.
Because Elihu does not know God.
Does not know God.
For
In
all
this
his
case,
talking.
for all his talking, it's clear that he does not know God.
He doesn't know God at all.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, God has a sense of humor. Because while Elihu is explaining to Job why he cannot expect God to talk to him,
Yeah.
God talks to Job.
Exactly. And then God comes and
I've
talks to Job.
always loved that part of the book. But before that, I forget his name. Oh yeah, also the book by Rory Sutherland is called Alchemy. You should read it.
Alchemy. Okay.
Yeah, you should read
I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I cannot read when I spend most of my Sundays with you.
yeah,
You're now becoming a problem in
I
my
should
life.
charge. So there's this Bible nerd who was talking about the book of Job. I can't remember. His surname is Alter, as in Alter. I forget his first name. And he said Job is a book of poetry.
Yeah.
Okay, these conversations, they're not normal. People don't talk like this.
Yeah.
So people say Job is written, it's like a play.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a script, a movie script.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't talk like this, but it's poetry.
Yeah.
But he says in the originals, the original language is there are 3 levels of poetry in the book of Job.
Okay.
And he says the lowest form of poetry is Job's friends.
Okay.
Apparently it's stiff and it's not, dynamic.
Yeah.
And then he says above that poetry is the poetry of Job. When Job speaks, his poetry flows more.
Yeah. You can feel that.
And then above that, it's God's poetry.
God. Oof.
When God speaks, God has bars.
Yeah. It's
Levels, bruh.
dropping the mic.
Boom!
I can imagine when God is speaking and the angels are standing behind him, and after everybody they go, whoa! That would be a lovely scene.
But that says something.
Yeah.
That these forensic detectives are cliched. Because they say even the languages, the words they use, they're cliches. Their poetry is cliched. It's basically
it's just the normal.
They lost the rap battle.
Yeah.
They lost the battle. No flow, nothing. It's just stilted.
Just a repetition of
yeah.
common things.
Yeah. And a lot of the things we say to people who are asking God why.
Yeah.
Why am I suffering? Why am I going through this? Are cliches that don't help them at all.
And someone comes and they have lost 5 family members in one car accident, and I'm like, don't worry, all things work together for good to those who love the
You'll
Lord.
see them in heaven. How do you know?
Like, how do you say such a thing in as much as it's true, in as much as it's true. But we should have, I think Christians lack the emotional intelligence.
Street smarts.
Yeah. Generally, we think as Christians we shouldn't be emotionally intelligent, but I think every Christian must be.
Yeah.
You can know better how to deal with certain situations.
Yeah. I remember I went to see a young lady from church who'd lost her mom. It was the funeral wake, Ep5. And so I got there. I look at her. I get this feeling, this girl wants to laugh. I don't know where I got it from. This girl wants to laugh.
Oh, you were inspired.
Yeah, I was inspired. So I greeted her and I cracked a joke. It had been raining.
Okay.
So she had a jersey on. So I looked at her and said, "What, are you cold?" And then she laughed. And then we started talking, and then I was cracking a few jokes here and there, and she was laughing.
Jason the joke
Yeah,
cracker.
you know. So and then we're chatting, and she says to me, "I'm so glad you didn't come and say something stupid."
Wow.
Well, she didn't use those words, but
Wow.
I'm paraphrasing. She said, "I'm
Wow.
glad you didn't come and say something stupid."
Wow.
You know, some lady actually came and said, the God, the devil is strong, but God let him kill your mom or something like that. And she says, you know, imagine if I didn't have strong faith and somebody said something like that. I said to her, I think you're better than I am, because if I were you, I'd have asked the person, did God send your WhatsApp message telling you all of this, or you just dreamt it up somewhere?
Yeah.
In the gutter somewhere. That's a really dumb thing to say.
Yeah, very dumb. We
dumb.
don't know how to deal with people when they're going through trauma.
I usually just get there, I say, I'm sorry for your loss.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
Because honestly, you don't know what to say in that moment.
Sometimes my relatives, at times, somebody loses a brother or a sister. There are times when I just app, because I don't call, because I know this person's probably getting calls left, right, and center.
Yeah.
I just app, I say, I remember it was a shocking death.
Yeah.
And I said to my cousin, I said, you know, Putuam, I don't even know what to say, so I won't say anything.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said, no, that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we should allow people to ask why. We should allow people to grieve.
Yeah. Yeah.
We shouldn't be going through auditing and marking and ticking what people say when they're going through trauma and hardships and stuff.
Yeah.
Let them be.
It's not the time for forensics.
It's not.
No.
Time will come, but for now, anyway, maybe it will never come anyway. But it's not the time for that.
Yeah.
Suffering happens to all.
Yeah.
And our response must be to be empathetic as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, just that.
So God does speak.
Yes, He does.
But that's another episode.
Yeah, because now the story, we have the people speaking, and God is quiet.
Yeah.
I think in the next episode, let's explore God speaking.
Yeah. What does God say?
What does God say?
But for now, subscribe, like, share. It's free.
It's free.
Peace out.
Yeah, out.